heard everyone kind of excited in here in the locker room. Can you describe what this atmosphere was like when you guys came in here to celebrate this?
Oh yeah, it was an exciting atmosphere for sure. Back to the when them not having a lot of respect. Saying a lot of things about this and doing this stuff after they won last year in the playoffs and things of that nature. So revenge is best served as a cold dish. So it's great to come in here, start their year off 0-2, 0-2 in the division too, if I'm not mistaken. So it's great, and we're happy about it. But we're on to next week.
Offensively, starting there, we have to get our mojo back. We got to get that mojo that we had in the preseason, where we're playing fast and fluid with confidence, individually and collectively. We've lost that. To be blunt, in the last several weeks. We're not getting the type of fluidity that we want in our starts. We're not teeing up possession down play, not being in advantageous possession down circumstances, and really is making it challenging to sustain drives and to score points.
I love it. I love it. Welcome to Brother from Another. Rita Hubbard, the NFL chick, is here. And we just heard from Roquan Smith and Mike Tomlin representing the Ravens and the Steelers in the AFC North. Roquan was talking about the Bengals. That's another AFC North opponent. Tomlin talking about that mojo. They had a little bit of it on defense when they took on another AFC North opponent, the Cleveland Browns. So this is the AFC North start, Rita, to Brother from Another. And I got to tell you, before we get started, like Mike Tomlin with the whistle, it looks like you go to gym class and that's your gym teacher. First week of school, you're like, oh, damn. Here we go. A gym teacher doing the most. He's got the whistle. No days off. Wait, no easy classes. We ain't going to ease into this thing. He's just going to be over us at all times. Blowing the whistle. No. Oh, man.
I mean, he needed that whistle anyway. He needed that whistle for that offense. That offense is not doing too well, to the point where fans were chanting "Fire Canada" and the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, as they are not pleased with how they have looked in the first 2 weeks of the season. So maybe that is for his offense, who is being picked up by the rear by his defense and T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick and company.
So you look at this, though. Okay, Canada, not happening. The Steelers in Canada, not getting it done. The Browns, with their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, and Deshaun Watson, not getting it done. They were awful in Pittsburgh. Deshaun Watson especially, not getting it done. Cincinnati, great weaponry, but not getting it done. And then you got the Ravens sitting there at 2-0. The most explosive offense in the AFC North is that of the Baltimore Ravens. Imagine that. How do you see this division? I know you know Baltimore inside and out, but how do you see this division playing out? And is 2 games enough of a sample size to be predictive?
No, of course not. And I say that because the Ravens are still implementing their new offensive coordinators system that they currently have, as well as the new offensive players that they currently receive via free agency and the draft. So we don't know. And I think that it's fair to say that this is a conversation that it's like, we don't know yet. And I say that because we don't know what is going to happen with Joe Burrow. I convincingly thought that the Ravens would win and beat your Cincinnati Bengals, Holly. I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to tell you why. I felt like that Joe Burrow's injury was going to hinder him. And in the first half of that game, he stood in that pocket like the Statue of Liberty. He wasn't comfortable. He didn't want to move around. In the second half, he did move around forcefully. You know, he kind of got flushed out of the pocket, had to make some plays because obviously they were kind of looking for some scores at that point. But you could tell he didn't look comfortable. And then on that last possession that he had, he walked off limping. And now, you know, his coach, Zach Taylor, is saying they really don't know what is going to happen from here. And we know that calf injuries could linger. and they could also potentially lead to worse injuries. So I say I don't know because I feel like it really depends on what's going to happen with Joe Burrow. Let's say Joe Burrow is 80% at some point of this year. Then I do think that it's a dog race, right? Because going 0-2 doesn't mean anything for the Bengals. They were in the same exact predicament as last year. The difference now is that you're dealing with a quarterback situation that you are very uncertain how this is going to play out, and you might have to tread lightly. And because of that, that's going to mean you're going to have to do things a little bit differently. I do think that the Bengals play well outside of their division, but when you start looking at their numbers, the teams that they play worst against are all in the AFC North. Cleveland has done nothing but upgrade their defense. The Steelers have always had good defense, and Mike McDonald has done really good things with losing the players that he's lost in the secondary. So I feel like that this could potentially be a problem. In the beginning, I would have said, the Ravens and the Bengals, you got to sprinkle the Browns in there because they had the talent. But Deshaun Watson isn't giving me enough faith at the moment to say that they can really arise in anything. So it might be the Ravens' time to shine in this year for this division. I don't know. It feels like the cards might be swinging in their favor.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating division. Every team has a great storyline.
Yep.
Every team has you would think is supposed to. Every team in the division either has a great quarterback or a quarterback with potential. Like Kenny Pickett is the guy with potential. The other three are supposed to be great. Deshaun Watson's supposed to be great. He's got a great contract, I can tell you that. So they're all interesting. But I must disagree with you.
Okay.
NFL chick. I got to disagree with you, Rita.
Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
And I've heard this. I've heard people say, "Oh, the Bengals are in the same position they were in last year." No, they're not. Yeah, I know they started 0-2. Give me 0-2. Give me last year. If Zach Taylor could take last year, he'd say, "Sign me up." And so would every Cincinnati Bengals fan. My grandmother used to say, "Cincinnati." She didn't say. She called it Cincinnati. We going to Cincinnati this weekend. So the Cincinnati Bengals, I'd take it because Joe Burrow was healthy last year.
Right, exactly.
This game changer. This is all different. It's not just 0-2. That first game, I knew last year, Burrow throwing all those interceptions against the Steelers. And even after all those interceptions, they should have won that game. They were just a mess. They lose that one, lose the second game. They got Burrow upright. They'll be fine. Now, Rita, I don't know. They scored 3 points in that first game against the Browns. He never looked comfortable against the Browns. You talked about him, how he didn't look comfortable against the Ravens. It was a competitive game. He re-aggravates the calf injury. I don't know. And he may not play in game 3. Don't sleep on the Rams. The Rams, thank you, Sean McVay, covered against the Niners. I made a little money on that one. So the Rams covered against the Niners. And then they go out and they win in Seattle. They win their first game. So that's not an easy matchup. Zach Taylor taking on his mentor or one of his mentors and Sean McVay. And you don't know if you're going to have Joe Burrow. Woo!
Yeah.
That makes me a little nervous. And I got to tell you, tell me if I'm wrong here. What am I missing? Because I feel like NFL teams, they're so smart and they have so many resources. And it's like, there are kids like this. They're really smart. They're book smart. They're so book smart that they're dumb. Like they can figure out all the, some philosophical thing here. They can figure out this formula, but then like common sense. You're like, what you thinking? See, people say Einstein couldn't find his way home sometimes, didn't tie his shoes, but, it's Einstein. Okay, the Cincinnati Bengals. In training camp, Joe Burrow is carted off the field. You shut him down. He doesn't practice for like 6 weeks, and you don't go out and get a quarterback? I mean, I know you're not looking for somebody to replace Joe Burrow, but
right.
I need a more secure bridge than what you have right now. Like,
absolutely.
Like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
Yep.
And so you lose this game. Yeah, you got a franchise quarterback. You need somebody who can keep you afloat for 4 weeks. I feel like Burrow should have been on the injured list for 4 weeks.
Yep.
Should not even play against the Browns. Don't play against the Browns. Don't play against the Ravens. 2 more games. Give me somebody who can get me to 2-2. Then I'll bring back a healthy Burrow and I'll take my chances. Even at 1-3, I'll take my chances. Now you got Burrow, who's not healthy. You haven't won a game. Why didn't they have more insurance?
I agree with that. That's the perfect question, because remember when he first aggravated it, and then the conversations of when is he coming back started. Jamar Chase went on the record and said, "Oh, I hope he doesn't play for the first 4 weeks. I want him to make sure that he's healthy." And then he plays the first week of the game in Cleveland in the rain with an aggravated calf, right? All the recipes of bad, just bad, bad, bad. And like you said, they did nothing. The Cowboys went out and got Trey Lance. Whatever you feel about Trey Lance is how you feel. But at least you could have gotten, he was what, a fourth? They traded him for a 4th round draft pick or something like that.
4th rounder, yeah.
Why don't you go out and say, well, let's pick up some type of insurance policy? Because here's the thing too, Holly. We're sitting here talking about the AFC North, and that's cool. But let's not act like the AFC as a whole is an issue here for the Cincinnati Bengals. They have been to 2 back-to-back AFC championship games, and now you're in a division that has essentially repaired themselves. Well, there's at least 2 teams that you can say has done things to prepare themselves to make a run for the division. Okay, so now you might not even win the division. But now if we're talking about wild card, where do you fit in if you fall too far behind without Joe Burrow or without a quarterback that can actually be a game manager until he's able to be healthy again? You still got the Chiefs. I know the Chargers are 0-2, and I am not high on Brandon Staley, but that team has too much talent for me to act like that they can't figure something out. You still got the Jaguars. You still got the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills. Where do you fit in, Cincinnati, if you fall too far behind because your quarterback is not 100% healthy and you have zero backup plan? No backup plan. That is crazy to me, because you have so much talent on both sides of the ball. You have to have an insurance policy. Joe Burrow, he was injured his rookie season. So I don't know why you didn't have one to begin with, quite frankly. And now you're here, and now there's a situation of, the Rams are coming to town, who has played very well the first 2 weeks of the season, and you're potentially going to be without your starting quarterback. 0-3 is looming real close to the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, and now before we pivot and bring in a very special guest in a few minutes, I want to get your take on this. I want to get your take on, I want you to call it, no qualifiers, no it's early, it's September. Who's going to win the division?
Ravens.
Who's going to win it?
Ravens. As long as Lamar Jackson stays healthy, I think that they have the potential to win the division, because, again, they played the Bengals very well. That has always been the case, hence why Lamar is 7-1 and playing Cincinnati, and, only lost 1 game against Joe Burrow. The Browns, they have the talent. I don't trust Deshaun Watson. He has not played well since he has started as a Cleveland Brown starting the end of last year. Ironically, Baker Mayfield is playing at a high level in Tampa. Interesting enough. And then the Steelers, listen, they're always going to be in the thick of it, but they still, losing Deontay Johnson for 4 weeks is going to kind of put you in a bind. Kenny Pickett is still trying to figure some things out. I just don't know how consistent they'll be if they can't get that offensive rolling. So I feel like the Ravens are in the best position just from a head coaching standpoint, and in terms of the players that they have. If they can stay healthy, to me, they can win the division.
Yeah, I think they probably are. I think they are. And I talked about this yesterday. I love how the Steelers saved themselves against the Browns, because offensively, they had no business. They had no business even getting to 26 points. How they got to 26 points with an offense like that is shocking, but that's what happened. You get 2 defensive touchdowns, and you get a busted play where George Pickens goes for 71, and there you are. You're in business. But I don't think it's sustainable. Deshaun was bad. Deshaun was the worst in that game. But Kenny Pickett,
with 2 personal fouls on top of that, by the way.
come on, you're the quarterback. You got 2 face masks. Don't you even know how to? So you can't hold on to the ball. You throw a pick 6 to begin a game, and you don't even face mask well. I mean, you don't even know how to like stiff arm. You stiff arm, and he's holding on to it. He's holding on to it. Anyway, listen. We'll see. AFC North. There's a lot to talk about there. We will continue to monitor this division as we go on, but we're gonna make a switch here. We're gonna bring in Rob Parker.
Yeah.
Rob Parker. Talk a lot of stuff with Parker. A little baseball, a little football, pro and college football with Rob Parker. That's coming up next on Brother from Another with my sister, Rita.
From another mister.
There it is. Keep rhyming. Keep rhyming. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.